Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May all the peace and blessings of the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be on all of us. Today, as you can see, I have drawn a rough sketch of the human eye. Today we may not be going into deep details of the eye, but we will be making some surface touches, and in our next lesson, we will now discuss the main components of the eye and how the eye functions. But today I want us to look at, have a clue that can enable us to navigate in our next lesson smoothly. Now class, as you can see today, we have the human eye, the structure drawn here. The outermost layer of the eye is called the sclera or the sclerotic layer. The second layer of the eye is called the choroid, and the innermost layer is called the retina. Again, we have two liquids in the eye. You have the vitreous humor and you also have the aqueous humor. Right. Again, you can see that we have the iris. You have the ciliary body. We have the cornea. We have the conjunctiva. And we have the blind spot as well. The eyelid, the eyelashes. Basically, those are the structures of the eye. Also, the eye is being suspended by ligaments and muscles, and we are going to see those muscles. Basically, the human eye has three layers. The outermost layer is called the sclera. The sclera is the protective part of the eye. It provides protection to the eye from damage, physical damage. Now, the middle layer is called the choroid. The choroid is the vascular layer, richly supplied with blood vessels, which nourishes the eye. Now we have the retina, the inner layer, for which the protection is being provided for which the vascularization or the nourishment is being provided for. The real layer of the eye, the functional layer of the eye, is called the retina. And you are going to see in deep analysis how the retina functions, what is the composition of the retina, and how it carries its functions till it brings about the functioning of the eye. Now class, again here we can see we have the vitreous humor. You as well have the aqueous humor. You also have the conjunctiva. You also have the lens. Right? You have the cornea, the eyelid, and the eyelashes. Now class, the eyelid is this one here. This is called the eyelid. This one, covering the eyeball, is called the eyelid. Now, toward the edges of the eyelid, we have the iris, that hairs. Now, what is the function of this iris? They prevent foreign particles from entering in the eye. Now, raised portions of the eye, we have the eyebrows. They prevent dust and sweat from entering in the eye as well. This is the eyelid, and those are the eyelashes. Raised above are the eyebrows, which prevent the dust and sweat from entering the eye. Of course, we say that, of course, it is not really the eye that sees anything at all, but the brain that interprets the impulses from the eye. As you can see, we have this one, this nerve, that is going to take the impulses to the brain, and the brain interprets that information. And we are going to see that one in great details in our next lesson. But for now, just know that it is not the eye that sees anything all, but the brain that interprets the impulses from the eye. Very good. Now again, we have many animals possess the eye, but few show the complexity of the eye. For instance, an animal like the snail, it uses to detect the eye. It uses the eye to detect light, but cannot form the image. And therefore, we say that many animals do have the eye, but few show the complexity of the eye. I gave two examples. That is the snail, which uses the eye to detect light but cannot form images. On the other hand, we have dogs who can form images but cannot distinguish colors. Right? But the human being shows the complexity of the eye. Number one, they can detect the light. Number two, they can form the image. And number three, they can distinguish colors. And therefore, having shown those complexity of the human eye, therefore, the human beings can show those three functions of the eye. Number one, detecting light, forming images, and number three, distinguishing colors. Based on the complexity of the human eye, they can perform those three functions. Now, having briefly described about that, let's look at where is the eye located. We say the eye is located in a socket in the skull. This bony structure is what we call the skull. And in the skull, there is this orbit in which the eye is located. And therefore, we say the eye is located in an orbit is located in a socket in the skull known as the orbit. Very good. Now, what is the function of this orbit? How is essential to the eye? This orbit offers protection to the eye against physical damages. And again, having known that the eye being located in a socket in the skull known as the orbit, and the function it performs is protection of the eye against physical damage. Now, this orbit do have an adaptation. That is, it has a fatty layer which offers a further protection against mechanical damage, and it acts as a shock absorber. Again, in the socket, the eye is being suspended by several muscles. Basically, you have three. That's the lateral rectors. They move the eye left and right. You have the superior and the inferior muscles. They move the eye up and down. And you also have the oblique muscles that steady the eye in its up and down movement. Very good. Now let's look at a gland that secretes the watery saline antiseptic fluid known as the tears. The tears is a watery antiseptic saline fluid that is being secreted by the lacrimal gland of the eye. Basically, it is found in vertebrates specifically. What is the function of these tears? The tears, they moisten the cornea and wash foreign particles out of the eye. Where is the cornea? This is the cornea. And therefore, we say that the watery saline antiseptic fluid being secreted by the lacrimal gland of the eye wash away foreign particles out of the eye, and therefore, by washing away foreign particles out of the eye, it moistens the cornea. In amphibians, reptiles, and birds, they have something called the nictitating membrane instead of that gland. Now, what is the function of the nictitating membrane? It is drawn across the eye to clean it. Right? It is drawn across the eye to clean it. And class, that is briefly about the human eye. And we say that the human eye basically has three layers. The outermost layer, which provides protection, is called the sclera. The middle layer is called the choroid, is the nourishing layer or the vascular layer richly supplied with blood vessels that brings nutrients and oxygen and remove waste products from the eye, and therefore it acts as a nourishment. On the other hand, again, we have the innermost layer, the real layer, and the functional layer of the eye, for which the protection and nourishment is being provided for. That is the retina. Again, class, the retina, we have a fluid called the vitreous humor, the aqueous humor as well. And we say, of course, it is not the eye that sees anything, but the brain that interprets the impulses from the eye. And therefore, we say many animals do possess eyes, but few shows the complexity of its structures. And I gave the example of a snail being able to detect the light but can't form the image. And you have the dog that can form the image but cannot distinguish colors. Now, the human being, they can detect light, form images, and as well distinguish color. And therefore we say the human eye is a complex structure. Wish you all the best. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.